As Lord Enki, the Wise One, lay upon his couch in the depths of sleep, a vision was revealed unto him. Before him stood a man of radiant countenance, his hair white as the snows of the Whitelands, his robe shimmering as the morning sun upon pure waters. Enki knew him, for he was Galzu, the messenger of the Creator of all. Galzu spake, saying, Awaken, O Lord of the waters, for great is the calamity that cometh. The floodgates of the deep shall be opened, and the waters of the heavens shall descend in fury. All that breathe the air, and all that tread the earth, shall be swept away in the deluge. Galzu stretched forth his hand, and in it appeared a tablet of lapis lazuli, smooth and shining with divine inscriptions. He placed it before Enki, saying, Take this, and let the righteous one, Ziusudra, behold its words, and follow its command. He shall build a vessel not of the ways of men, but a craft of the deep, sealed against the fury of the flood. Let it be long and narrow with a strong covering, so that the waves may not enter or the torrents overwhelm. And within let him bring his household, and the seeds of every living thing, male and female, that life upon the earth may not perish. Enki, hearing these words, was filled with wonder. He bowed before Galzu, saying, But how shall this thing be done? For I am bound by an oath of silence. Galzu smiled and answered, Speak not unto Ziusudra with thy lips, but let thy hand inscribe the words, and let the Wise One perceive them in his heart. Thus shall the warning be given, and the oath of Enlil shall remain unbroken. And suddenly, as a shadow flees before the rising sun, the vision faded, and Enki awoke with great trembling. And he sat upon his bed, troubled and in deep thought, saying within himself, Was this a dream of my own mind, or a message sent forth from the halls of the heavens? Then rising from his place, his eyes fell upon the tablet lying beside him, shining with an otherworldly glow. When he lifted it in his hands, he beheld upon it the exact words and markings as he had seen in the vision. At that moment, Enki knew with certainty that it was no mere dream, but a command from on high. He called forth his trusted servants, saying unto them, Go ye forth unto every corner of the land. Seek out the man called Galzu, for I must speak with him face to face. The messengers departed with speed, searching through the cities and the fields. In the houses of the Anunnaki they inquired, yet none had seen Galzu or heard of his coming. All day Enki waited in anxious thought, his eyes looking toward the horizon, his heart pondering the mystery set before him. But as the sun began to set behind the mountains, the messengers returned, their faces full of confusion. They bowed before Enki and said, My lord, we have searched high and low, through the dwelling places of men and gods, but Galzu is not found among us. For it is said, he departed long ago, and returned unto the far land of NIBIRU. When the night had covered the land, Enki arose in silence, clothed in secrecy, and departed from his dwelling place, so that no one might see the steps he took. He went unto the place of his son Ziusudra, where he lay in slumber, unaware of his fate. And lo, there stood a humble reed hut, fragile and swaying in the whispering wind. Enki, wise among the gods, knelt before the reed wall and spake unto it, saying, O reed, O wall of wisdom, give ear to the words I shall utter, for a great calamity draws near. A flood vast and mighty shall sweep the earth, and all flesh shall be consumed by the raging waters. Enki continued, saying, O reed wall, hearken and record, for one among men must be spared, that the seed of life shall not perish. Take thou the design given by the hand of the divine, a vessel mighty and sealed that shall withstand the torrents of the great flood. Enki commanded through the whispering reeds, saying, O my son, O Ziusudra, a flood, vast and merciless, shall rise upon the earth, and all flesh shall be consumed in the waters, save for thee, and those thou shalt gather. Build a vessel. It must be sealed from the torrents, its walls strong as the mountains, its roof covering all, so that no waters may enter, and it shall be fit to submerge beneath the waves, yet rise again, bearing life upon its deck. 7 days have been appointed thee, to forsake thy dwelling and labour without rest, to build as the gods have decreed, that thy lineage and the seed of all creatures shall endure. I shall appoint a pilot, one who is of my seed and of noble wisdom, to guide thee and thine through the deluge, that ye may reach the lands of safety. He shall know the course of the waters, the ways of the stars and the winds, and shall steer thee to where the flood shall abate, and where new life shall spring forth. As he spake, Ziusudra, in the stillness of his sleep, dreamed of the words that flowed through the reeds. Enki, knowing his secret had been delivered, departed as he came, unseen and unheard, for he had kept his oath, and yet the will of the Creator of all was set into motion. Ziusudra suddenly rose in the night, his heart stirred with urgency. And lo, before him, at the wall of his dwelling, a tablet lay, shining with the wisdom of the gods. The words of Enki were set before his eyes, that he should build a mighty craft, not of frail wood nor of weak bindings, but strong, sealed, and enduring. Ziusudra beheld the tablet of lapis lazuli. His hands did tremble, for upon it was inscribed, Let the craft be built according to these measures, for the flood shall rise as a beast from the deep, and the land shall be swallowed in its fury. Seal the vessel with pitch and tar. Let no crack nor crevice permit the water's entry, that it may endure the tossing and tumbling, and rise above the chaos of the deep. In the morning Ziusudra gathered the people, and he spake unto them with wisdom and cunning, saying, Behold, the wrath of Lord Enlil is kindled against me, and against my lord Enki, who hath sheltered me. He hath cast me from the city, and from the Eden, and hath decreed that I must flee unto the Abzu, to dwell in the land of my lord Enki, far from his sight. Therefore I must build a mighty vessel, that I may traverse the waters and find refuge, lest his fury consume me utterly. And the people, hearing these words, were well pleased, for they believed that with Ziusudra's departure, the anger of Lord Enlil would be lifted from them, and their suffering would cease. And with haste they set their hands to the labour, bringing forth wood from the forests, pitch from the trees, and reeds from the marshes, that the craft might be built without delay. And with great haste did the people labour, that the vessel of Ziusudra might be completed. For they longed to see him depart, that the wrath of Enlil be lifted from them. In 5 days the vessel was made ready, sealed with pitch, and made watertight, strong in its frame, and able to endure the waters. According to the measure given by Galzu, so was it built, lacking nothing. And the people, eager for his departure, brought forth provisions, food, and water, that Ziusudra might not suffer on his journey. They laid before him offerings of bread and fruits, so that he and his household would not hunger. Then did Ziusudra gather his kin, his wife and his sons, his daughters and their children. He led forth the cattle and the oxen, the sheep and the goats, the horses and the donkeys, and the creatures that served man in his dwelling. And behold, the birds of the heavens, seeing the signs of doom in the skies, took flight and entered the vessel unbidden, seeking refuge from the terror to come. Then Ziusudra spake unto the people, saying, Lo, I go to the land of my lord Enki, and if any among you would come, let him enter now. But the people laughed and scorned his words, saying, The wrath of Enlil shall pass, and we shall dwell in bounty once more. But the wise among them trembled, and a few gathered their families, entering the vessel before the doors were sealed. And it came to pass, on the morrow after the vessel was completed, that the son of Enki, Ninagal, called Lord of the Great Waters, came forth from the Abzu, bearing tidings and sacred burdens. In his hands did he carry a mighty chest of cedar wood, sealed and shut fast, that none might open it, for within were the life essences and eggs of all living creatures, gathered by the wisdom of Enki and the skill of Ninma. These, said Ninagal, shall be for the renewing of the earth, that when the waters have withdrawn, life may spring forth again. By the will of Enki are they preserved, that all shall not be lost beneath the waves. Then did he enter the vessel and take his place at the helm, so that he might guide it through the raging deep, and bring it safely unto the mountain of its deliverance. And lo, the time of calamity was near, for the heavens gave forth signs, and the earth trembled. The appointed hour was at hand, and the shadow of doom stretched over the land. Enki spake, saying, Behold, the great deluge cometh upon the earth, and none shall stand before its wrath. The waters shall cover the mountains, and the breath of all living things shall be taken away. But thou, O Ziusudra, shalt be preserved, and the seed of life shall be kept safe within the vessel. When the waters subside, thou shalt go forth, and the earth shall be renewed. And it was in those days that the sign of the heavens was set, and the constellation of the great lion marked the season of destruction. In the heat of summer, in the months of fire, the decree of the Creator of all was fulfilled. In the days before the flood, the earth did groan with a mighty trembling, and the heavens did shake with foreboding signs. In the night sky NIBIRU glowed with an ominous light. Its presence was like a burning torch in the firmament, stirring the celestial spheres and disrupting the order of the heavens. The sun was darkened in the daytime, and the moon lost its radiance in the night. The stars did flicker and wane, and the air was filled with dread and sorrow. And behold, storms arose with a mighty roar. The winds lashed the lands, and the clouds churned in anger. Great bolts of lightning split the sky, and the voice of the thunder resounded across the earth. Then Utu, the Radiant One, raised his hand and gave the solemn sign that the Anunnaki should depart from the lands of men and seek refuge in the heavens, and they who once walked upon the earth, the lords of old, the princes of the skies, took leave of their abodes and entered their chariots of fire. The roaring of their engines filled the air as the great ships lifted from the ground and ascended unto the firmament to watch from above the destruction of all below. And it came to pass in the land of Shurubak that Ninagal, the appointed pilot, spake unto Ziusudra, saying, Hasten, O man of righteousness, and seal the vessel, that no drop of the waters may enter within. Ziusudra obeyed with trembling hands. He fastened the hatch with strong bindings, and the ark became a fortress, impervious to the wrath to come. Darkness filled the vessel, for no light was permitted within, and all who were within waited in solemn silence. Then the heavens did groan with a mighty lament, and the earth beneath trembled as if in pain. From the south a great roar was heard as the white lands, the frozen kingdom of ice, began to crumble. One mountain of ice after another did shatter, great walls of frost broke free and fell into the seas. The deep waters were stirred as by a great tempest, and the oceans did rise in fury. For the hand of NIBIRU, the wandering celestial lord, did reach forth with unseen might, and the very balance of the earth was undone. And it came to pass that the waters of the deep did swell with great fury, and a monstrous tidal wave arose, spreading in all directions, covering nearly the whole earth beneath its mighty surge, and the rushing waters, in their terrible haste, did dredge up vast quantities of mud and silt from the floor of the sea, forming a great shroud of mire that blanketed the lands. Meanwhile the Anunnaki, fearful of the doom unfolding below, did gather in their celestial chariots, and they ascended into the heavens, huddling together in orbiting spacecraft, from which they beheld the extinction of life, a sorrowful vision from afar. The deluge covered both the Abzu and the Eden in an immense flood of water and mud, as the mighty tidal wave swept over the earth with unstoppable force. When the floodwaters reached the city of Shurubak, the ark was wrenched from its mooring, and it was swallowed up by the onrushing waters, as the sea claimed all in its path. Yet by the grace of the divine design the sturdy vessel held fast, remaining airtight and secure, even as it was completely submerged beneath the spreading tide. The floodwaters did cover the face of the earth, and death and destruction swept across the lands with unrelenting might. Men, women and children, beasts of the field and fowl of the air, all were swallowed up in an instant by the rolling tide. The ground did vanish beneath the flood, and all that dwelt upon it perished. None could flee nor find refuge from the great deluge, and the Anunnaki gazed down upon the ruined earth, their hearts heavy with sorrow. Ninmah, forced aboard the celestial chariots like all other Anunnaki, did cry out in despair, saying, "My people, my creation, drowned like dragonflies upon a pond, swept away in a moment, their cries unheard, their breath stolen by the sea." Inanna, the Radiant One, knelt by the side of Ninmah. She too wept, saying, "Behold, all that once flourished has turned to clay. The land is no more, the creatures are no more, the works of our hands have been washed away as if they had never been." And the Anunnaki in their celestial chariots beheld the devastation below, humbled and silenced by the mighty wrath of the waters. The rage of nature, more fearsome than their greatest weapons, had swept the land clean of all that had dwelt upon it. And as they hovered above the earth, hunger and thirst did seize them, for the fruits of the earth had vanished and the vineyards were no more. All that was once verdant had turned to clay, and the Anunnaki longed for the sweet taste of the land they had forsaken. Then the heavens opened, and storm clouds gathered in the sky. For 40 days and 40 nights the rains did fall upon the earth. The torrents poured from the firmament, and the waters, already vast, grew even greater in their depths. And lo, the highest mountains barely kissed the surface of the flood, appearing as lonely isles in the boundless sea. When the rains ceased and the storm clouds dispersed, the waters began to retreat, revealing a world that was drowned and silent. The earth, once teeming with life, lay in ruin,